front of the steering committee and just tell them what your plans are.
Okay.
And just show like a little diagram of
Right.
what you're going to do.
Okay.
Right.
But if
And
with
can you help us walk through that process?
yes, and I have if you just fill out the form. Well, you want to come in and look?
Oh, you have a form on you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's a special event form?
This is the infamous gatehouse.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. I'm good. I'm walking
What's infamous about it exactly?
Oh, that gatehouse?
Yeah.
You can see on the other side, it fell down.
Will know the whole history.
Linda lives down here. She is with Friends of Monroe Street Cemetery. She also works for Councilman Simperman.
Uh-huh.
And the side wall of this caved in the other day, and their group has been working very hard to raise funds to have this gatehouse restored,
Yeah.
as well as all the fencing around here and get this cemetery fixed back up to the level it needs to be.
Yeah.
We talked about turning this into one of those places that you could do the, like sort of like crematory or whatever you call this thing, to restore like urns of
Yeah.
ashes and stuff like
Right.
that, so that it's a useful part
This was
of the
my
cemetery.
old pamphlet
Mhm.
from
So
when I first
infamous
started.
only that it's been kind of the focal point of why the
And-
cemetery needs restored.
Yeah.
You can see it's old because Nelson Syndrome was on there. But I couldn't, I was in such a hurry this morning, I didn't find my new one. But that's a little bit about it, about the cemetery. But that was the old caretaker house. We wanted to keep it up, and right now, with the help of Vicki Visual Boom and a lot of other volunteers, they were able to put online all the people that were buried here.
Can I get this?
Yes.
Is
And I
it-
put my new phone number on it. in
Okay.
there. But what they did was, we would like to keep part of this open so that people can come in here. If their family's here, we get people from England, Canada, Alaska. People come here to look for their relatives. So we were thinking even a little Ohio City stop. And one side, get a volunteer to man it a few hours, maybe 3 days a week.
Mhm.
And then Alan told the city they could cremation is so big at this point that we broke down, well, Alan honestly got all the numbers, and that they could make their money back if they would put half of this for putting cremation remains in, and get their money back. It would take time, but for the repair and having it open and everything, in time they could make their money back.
Sure.
So we gave them something. So now we're just, the 18th, hopefully I have an answer and I don't have to chain myself to the gatehouse. Like in the 60s and 70s. Oh, probably over 350,000, I know. But I also know it's going to take a lot of money, but that's complete renovation.
Right.
But I also know a lot of bricklayers and laborers and stuff like that, and I just am waiting for the city's word to see if maybe I could if we could buy the materials, if we could get some apprentice laborers to do the work. And it would be done good because they have to have some, So that's what we're doing.
And where is the grave site of the first police officer that was killed?
I can take you over there. But just to let you know, usually when we set up events, the Kick Memorial we set up here. We put tables and a tent up. And then over here also, and the electric box is right there on the pole that you can plug into. I had that done 2 years ago. Thanks for mentioning that. Well, they didn't steal my gold.
another
last
cool old
Yeah.
structure.
Ah,
They
that's
took
neat.
the body out of here and then they just now use it. We use it for storage. We put our flags and our hose and stuff like that. And there's one of our benches that someone broke. Oh, I see. They broke the whole land off. I'll take you over.
When you would set up a tent over here, exactly where would it go? Like just right in that middle area where there's no trees?
Yeah, right here, like
Or right
this
here.
section.
Uh-huh. So it was like a 10 by 10 or...
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then that day of the event, I can make sure that you can come in through the gate because I have the key.
Mhm.
Yeah, we usually like to do it here because the electric's right there.
Right,
You know.
right.
Yeah, that's how you-
Brian, what sort of things are you going to need to be able to do this in terms of like cooking?
Cooking? Well, I will coordinate that with Rick Turner from Event Source.
Okay.
But, power obviously was a
Right.
concern. We know where that is now, so that question's out of the way. Access to running water is pretty important.
I hope it's still on. We'll check on the way out. But by the gatehouse there, I probably could let you use the hose even if you need it.
That's fine, because
And
what
run it
Event
over
Source
here.
has like a 3-well sink
Okay.
that can be brought in and hooked up to any water supply, and that provides me with ability to to keep things sanitary.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then the cleanup would be by your group.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And I
That's
do
what they'll
believe, I'll have to ask Rick, but I do believe they can do it the night of.
Okay.
But in some cases they can't. I don't know how they determine that. But if it was to be the next day, it would be in the morning.
Okay. Because that's one thing the city will ask.
I'm sure. And yeah, they don't really want a lot of stuff hanging around, especially, I don't know,
Yeah.
for any particular reasons. But
Right.
Will this be an evening? Is this in the evening?
yeah,
event?
this would be an evening event.
So lighting, would lighting be an issue at all? Or?
Lighting, as long as they have access to power,
Yeah, they can handle that.
they'll be able to set up lighting. Like they won't need any of those resources from anyone else. They'll bring all that in. Mass media and their AV partner brings in all sorts of lighting because they have cameras and the whole. It's a pretty big production.
Oh, okay.
So, water, power, prior access, to do setup and so forth for us would be needed. Probably on the day of, earlier in the day.
Is this a weekday or a weekend?
Yeah, we're shooting for a weekday,
Okay.
primarily. A Sunday might even work.
Okay.
I was my target week was the 17th of October,
Okay.
somewhere in that realm. Either the 16th, which is Sunday, or, thereabouts. And I think that's coordinating. There's a few things you have to coordinate on that, and that has a lot to do with what else is going on in the city, on any given date of that target.
You get the maximum.
Right. We don't want to,
Compete with big events.
exactly. And
Yes,
also
because I
with
think
your
you-
schedule and,
I think you do need like 6 weeks notice.
all right.
So that's why I was asking.
And that would be with,
The special events department?
okay.
If you just fill it out and then. It's not very much, but they might ask you to go in front of the steering committee and just, I had to do that for the first time. And what it is like the fire department's there and
Right.
different departments. And they just will, you explain what you're wanting to do.
Yeah. And that's why I was asking about
Yeah.
what you need in terms of cooking stuff, because I don't know about like open flame. How you're planning
Right.
that.
All right. So that depends on I'd say in most scenarios when you're outdoors, like a burner is not an issue.
Right.
That probably will have to be discussed with fire marshal.
Right, like propane tanks or
Yeah.
however it is you're going to do that.
You know, and that's a case by case kind of thing. Usually, most fire marshals can you know, they'll make their call based on the situation. If in the event they wouldn't allow any kind of open flame, we have equipment that we can use
Okay.
that won't be open flame. So I'd rather be able to use open flame. It's a little better.
And they do ask for about security on the application.
Oh,
It's
security being provided the night of.
yes.
Yeah, and also the rental. Is there a rental fee?
See, that I don't know. I
Or an
mean, I
event
have
fee.
events here and they don't charge me. I know that event fee is $20, but I'm not sure about. That's
Okay.
all I ever pay when I have an event.
Right.
You know.
But when you do an event here, is it just a private?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is open to the public, and it's supposed to be for profit, but I don't know if anybody's made any profit yet. But
Yeah.
that's the idea anyway.
Well,
But there's
we
a
do-
limited number of tickets that are sold for.
There is a limited number. It's only, I mean, you can set the number
Right.
based on venue and ability to, to deal with certain whatever. So I think we're going to cap it at like 80.
Okay.
We haven't settled on that. That had a lot to do with today's tour. What's capacity, and
Well, if no one drives in here, which I don't think they will allow,
Right.
so there would have to be street parking.
right.
And the gate could be open so you could bring everybody in.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, if you were setting up tables, you probably could do it along here
Right.
since you're not driving in.
Yeah, I think that would be fantastic.
You know?
We'd talked about that, like putting in like a communal table down this lane.
Right.
And yeah, as far as driving in, we would want the guests to do that anyway because, we want that effect, the drama of coming in through the gate and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And also, now as far as setup goes, it would be helpful if we could drive in. There's so much
sure.
equipment to unload.
Right.
I mean, it's like a movie production. It's pretty heavy, and
Yes,
I don't
I'm
know if
sure
those-
that's possible, but
Yeah.
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I think they don't want anybody just
Right.
with that.
The
some-
attendees
yeah.
driving.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay. Very good.
Do you want to see where the Kick Memorial is?
Yeah, I'd love to.
Okay. And these are all new. The stones.
Yeah.
We had them replaced. So they're replacing as we go. For all the veterans. And we have a lot of.
Henry Potter, is it Harry Potter's dad?
You think so? And we have a lot of groundhogs in here,
Oh yeah.
and they're really making a mess.
I'm sure they're mischievous.
Yes, they're digging all the graves.
Yeah. Oh.